In the world of law enforcement, few moments are as unsettling and serious as the response of juvenile criminals given life sentences. As we observe the sentencing process, we see a striking conflict between youth and fairness, where the harsh truth of being imprisoned for life intersects with the brief naivety of adolescence. Every response reveals a peek into their thoughts, spanning from surprise and doubt to resistance and acceptance, exposing the intricate and sometimes troubling overlap of adolescent urges and irreversible choices. Dylan Shoemaker. In a Buffalo, New York courtroom, 16-year-old Dylan Shoemaker stood awaiting sentencing for a crime that shook the community: the second-degree murder of his girlfriend's child. It was an evening like any other when Shoemaker, entrusted with the care of the 23-month-old toddler while his girlfriend was at work, committed an act of violence that would forever change his life. Within the walls of the Springville home he shared with his parents, Shoemaker brutally assaulted the child, leading to fatal injuries. The child's tragic death led to Shoemaker's immediate arrest on charges of both murder and child abuse. Shoemaker's defense painted a picture of a young boy overwhelmed by responsibility, claiming he had only intended to soothe the child and never meant any harm. However, the jury, unconvinced by his pleas, convicted him of second-degree murder. His demeanor in court shifted dramatically as he tearfully apologized, professing his regret and asserting that causing harm was never his intention. A pivotal moment in the trial was a recorded phone conversation between Shoemaker and his mother before the trial began, revealing his attempts to manipulate the jury. "I am a 16-year-old blonde. Probably all I have to do is cry in front of the jury and they're going to feel sorry for me," he had said, reflecting a stark contrast between his private confidence and public remorse. When confronted with this recording, Shoemaker expressed deep regret, stating, "I can't take back what was done. I wish I could. I'll give my life for Austin." Initially, the court handed down the harshest penalty available, a minimum of 25 years to life. However, this was later revised to a range of 18 years to life, acknowledging the complexities of sentencing a juvenile offender. This reduction did little to mitigate the gravity of Shoemaker's actions, leaving a community grappling with the consequences of a young life irreparably marred by a moment of unimaginable violence. The adjustment in sentencing reflected a nuanced approach to balancing justice with the recognition of Shoemaker's youth at the time of the crime. Despite the reduction, the profound impact of his actions continued to reverberate, underscoring the enduring pain and loss experienced by those affected. Shondell Jackson. Shondell Jackson, an 18-year-old, faced the harrowing consequences of his actions after being found guilty of the cold-blooded murder of a college student. On a fateful night, Jackson, accompanied by a companion, scoured the streets looking for targets. Their eyes fell on 21-year-old Nathan Potter, a student from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, as he exited a local bar. Jackson and his accomplice pursued Potter, confronted him, and demanded money. When Potter revealed he had none, Jackson, without hesitation, shot and killed him. The following day, Jackson fled to Mississippi, attempting to evade justice. However, his flight was short-lived. His uncle tipped off the authorities about his whereabouts, leading to his arrest. Jackson's trial was marked by disturbing behavior. He made mocking gestures towards the victim's family and smiled at them as he was escorted out of the courtroom, a chilling display that underscored the gravity of his crime. In a poignant moment before sentencing, Jackson's mother addressed the court, recounting how she learned of the murder through a news broadcast. Overcome with emotion, she wept as she expressed her inability to fathom the pain endured by the victim's family. She maintained that she had no inkling of her son's involvement and fervently insisted that he was not a monster. When it was Jackson's turn to speak, he conveyed remorse for his actions and sought forgiveness from the court and the victim's family. As the judge delivered a life sentence without the possibility of parole, Jackson's composure broke. He became visibly emotional, leading to a scuffle with the deputies as the weight of his fate descended upon him. The courtroom tension escalated further when a relative of Jackson's confronted the victim's family. Adding to the turmoil, Jackson's friend, who had played the role of a lookout during the crime, also faced justice. Acknowledging his part in the tragic incident, he admitted his guilt and received a sentence of 12 years in prison. The sentences delivered that day served as a stark reminder of the irreversible consequences of violent crime, forever altering the lives of all involved. Jennifer Mee. At just 19 years old, Jennifer Mee found herself in the stark halls of the Pinellas County Justice Center, facing charges of first-degree murder that starkly contrasted with her earlier claim to fame as the Hiccup Girl. Her journey from international curiosity to criminal defendant began years earlier when, at the age of 15, she gained widespread media attention for her uncontrollable hiccups. As her hiccups eventually subsided, so did the spotlight, until her life took a dark turn with her arrest. Allegedly masterminding a robbery through online connections, she lured a man she met online to a vacant house where her accomplices lay in wait. Tragically, the encounter turned deadly when the victim was robbed and fatally shot, all for a mere $50. Following the crime, Mee, Rayford, and Newton lived together, their shared guilt binding them until the law intervened. During her initial custody, Mee's recorded confession to her mother from jail underscored the grim reality of her situation. Despite her plea, Jennifer Mee was convicted of first-degree murder and received a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Similarly, her accomplices, Rayford and Newton, faced justice with convictions of first-degree felony murder and identical life sentences behind bars. Their collective actions, born of desperation and executed with tragic consequences, serve as a grim reminder of the irreversible outcomes of impulsive decisions and the high price of misguided choices in the pursuit of quick gains. Jennifer Mee's case highlights the stark contrast between fleeting fame and lasting infamy, where a moment of notoriety gave way to a lifetime of incarceration, leaving behind shattered lives and a cautionary tale of how quickly fortunes can turn for the worse. Martise Fuller. Martise Fuller, a resident of Kenosha County, Wisconsin, found himself at the center of a grim trial accused of the murder of his ex-girlfriend and the attempted murder of her mother. At the age of 15, Fuller allegedly broke into his ex-girlfriend's home armed with a gun. Tragically, while she listened to music in her bedroom, Fuller's ex-girlfriend was fatally shot. Hearing the commotion, her mother intervened and confronted Fuller, who proceeded to shoot her twice. Miraculously, the mother survived the ordeal and bravely identified Martise Fuller to the authorities. Throughout the trial, Fuller vehemently maintained his innocence, despite the overwhelming evidence and the jury's unanimous decision. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree intentional homicide. As the courtroom awaited sentencing, Fuller made a notable gesture, showing movement for the first time since the trial began. He maintained his innocence until the moment the judge handed down a life sentence in prison. Fuller had prepared a statement for the courtroom, expressing profound remorse and apologizing to the family he had once shared love and time with. "I wanted to write this giving my sincerest apologies to this family I once shared time and love with," he wrote. "Truthfully, I am sorry about the pain you've all suffered through, but more importantly, the loss of my ex-girlfriend Kaylee, that I love too. But I have to continue to stand innocent because I am. And I hope you all can eventually see in your hearts that I am not the person the media has made me out to be." Despite Fuller's plea, the judge's verdict reflected deep concern about Fuller's potential for future violence. Citing the need to safeguard the public, the judge decreed, "On the first charge, you will be sentenced to life imprisonment with no chance of parole." Fuller's fate was sealed that day, as he received a sentence that ensures he will spend the remainder of his life behind bars, showing no visible signs of being affected by the severity of his punishment. Martise Fuller's case serves as a stark reminder of the tragic outcomes that can stem from youthful impulsivity and the irreversible consequences of violent actions, leaving behind shattered lives and communities grappling with loss and justice. Thanks for watching. If you like watching these intriguing stories, then subscribe for more content and give huge thumbs up. Stay safe.